Okay, great. Can you all hear me? Everything's good? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I think because I wasn't able to hear it, I'm assuming you didn't introduce me as Dr. Washington Sanchez or anybody else from the project. But anyway, my name is Brian Hoffman, obviously, and I'm the project lead for OpenBazaar and also CEO at OB1. I assume that since you're here to see stuff about OpenBazaar, that you're all familiar with what it is. So I guess I can spare my normal spiel about what it is and what we're trying to do. But I think today that what I wanted to do was basically just talk a little bit about where we're currently at, what's going to go on in the near term, and then kind of some of the thoughts about where we go in the future and how people such as yourselves can help us grow what OpenBazaar is globally and make it fulfill the vision that we've all kind of got for this. I just want to say it's amazing that you guys even started this group. We weren't even really thinking that we would be in a place at this time where that would be possible, but it's been very exciting to see so many supporters across the globe. We just went to Amsterdam a couple weeks ago and met people from Italy who had their own group, and there's several other groups that are starting up around the globe, and it's really exciting that everybody's kind of self-organizing. I think it's super powerful, and I think it also gives the project a very strong perspective from different geographical regions that a lot of other companies and open source projects just don't have. To have that kind of viewpoint, it makes the product better, and it helps us cater it to your needs as users. And it also allows you as a developer, if any of you guys are there and gals are more involved with the development of OpenBazaar, please make sure you go to our Slack and our GitHub and start asking questions and see how you can get involved. We can always use more help. Anything from translations in any language that you speak to networking code, we can use help anywhere. So where are we right now as a project? So right now we are currently in our testing phase, which I hesitate to call it beta because we were in beta for a very long time before with the previous kind of iteration of the product, and so I'd rather just call it what it boils down to is that the software is somewhat complete in terms of functionality for what we want to get into version 1. It still has some bugs here and there and probably some performance issues as you've noticed while you guys are testing it. But the idea for this phase is to make sure that we stomp out as many of those as possible before we start risking mainnet Bitcoins in purchases and sales and things like that. We're very cautious to ensure the software is stable and reliable, and it's not really fair to anyone to cause you to lose Bitcoins. Now, I can't promise you there won't be scams and stuff on the network yet, but because that's obviously a work in progress. Building a decentralized system is based on lower levels of trust, and we're going to be working on that for the future. But in terms of just straight technical reasons why you might lose your coins, we're going to try and prevent that as much as possible. So if you haven't gotten an opportunity to download the software and try it out and test it out, please do so. Do everything in your power to break it, crash it, destroy it, so that we can make it better for everyone. If you find any kind of security vulnerability or anything like that, we would love it if you would responsibly disclose it to us. So that we can fix it for everyone. We do bounties, so if you do find something critical, please don't hesitate to let us know. You may even get rewarded for it. So basically, this phase is going to last I'm not going to give a specific date because I just really don't know exactly. We haven't decided internally like kind of what that will be, but obviously it's going to take a couple weeks at least, and we're going to keep pushing out updates until we get the product to the place where we feel like it's ready to go out to everyone. So hopefully that will be very soon, and we're very excited to get going on real purchases, and hopefully we won't see just mass plumbuses and advice and spiritual stuff. Won't be the only thing for sale on the network. That will get a nice diverse set of products and services. But it has been pretty fun seeing what people have put on the testnet so far. Some of it scared me deeply, and other things looked really, really great and representative of what true businesses are going to be doing. So I think that's great. I think some of the main criticisms that we've seen so far with the product are around just mostly performance and installing. And so we're working really, really hard to eliminate some of those things. I think it's going to be important to be patient early on because it is a peer-to-peer network, and obviously, all the kinks haven't been worked out. But it seems to be working pretty well. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Maybe when you guys ask questions, let us know as well if you guys are having any concerns. I'd be glad to answer those questions and give you some better understanding of what we're doing to address that. So that's kind of where we're at with the testnet phase. The last thing I wanted to talk about really quickly is, where are we heading as a project? Obviously, OpenBazaar means a lot of things to a lot of different people. The person standing next to you might hope that it turns into something completely different than what it actually is, or what they think it should be. But the only way that we help achieve any of those goals is by you guys voicing your opinions and helping us improve it. So we want to be able to cater the software to users that are selling things sort of Craigslist style, all the way up to businesses that are going to be selling large volumes of products. The software right now, as it is probably a long ways away from being a respectful competitor to some of the more mature systems. But doing things like inventory management is on our list of things. So being able to handle stock better and different types of sales, as well as doing discount codes and coupon codes and things like that. All of these capabilities that exist in other marketplaces, we want to bring as quickly as possible to what OpenBazaar does. And also another really big thing that we're going to be working on and focusing on in the next 6 months is making it so that stores don't have to be run on your own computer 24 hours a day if you want to sell items. So I don't know if any of you are in our Slack. I believe a video was posted showing Chris has been working on toying with IPFS, seeing how that would work with OpenBazaar, and that shows a lot of promise. It's pretty exciting. And there's a couple other technologies that we're looking at as well that will allow us to keep stores up and remain a little bit more resilient than the current architecture supports. So that's really, really exciting. I think being able to not have to host a store on your Raspberry Pi all the time will be really great for people that aren't super serious about selling things but still want to have their store available all the time. Other areas that we're going to be focusing on are reputation and trust. Right now, the reputation and trust system exists mostly as ratings, and there are some serious limitations to how useful that is in its current incarnation. We're going to be working to improve that, and there'll be more about that to come. Let's see, what else? Another thing that we've really seen in the testnet phase that's been really, really exciting is people using the social features. So chatting with merchants, other users, following lists, those types of things are really important for helping build brands within OpenBazaar, because when we get a ton of nodes on the network, your store is not going to stand out as much as it does in its current shape. So we're going to be providing tools for people to build up follower lists and blast out notifications to their followers, and and create strong brands within OpenBazaar. And a big piece of that is going to be making sure that you tie your storefronts to your blockchain identity. So if any of you haven't created a blockchain ID for your store or for your app, I recommend doing so. It definitely makes it a much better user experience for people trying to find your store than to have to type in the long hash of your location. So I know that the experience for doing so and registering is pretty janky, but we're going to be working on that as well with OneName to improve that, so that hopefully it will be a very seamless, easy, quick process. I think right now you currently have to wait almost a day in order to get it to sync up, which is a pretty bad experience for users. We know that, but we're kind of, that's the nature of collaboration with other projects. You have to play by their rules sometimes. So we're working with them to try and improve that. Now what else? I think another question, and I'm already seeing that somewhat come up in the questions in the sidebar here, are around privacy and anonymity. So some of you may not be familiar with kind of the strategy that we're taking purposefully on handling privacy and anonymity within the marketplace. I think it's without a doubt one of the most important fundamental things that we need to have within OpenBazaar. The question then becomes, what is the best way to bootstrap a decentralized private marketplace without basically inviting all of the darknet marketplaces to just shift their stock onto this and scare the crap out of any potential normal user from joining OpenBazaar. So what we've done is we've basically developed a roadmap for incorporating more anonymity into the protocol, into the network, but we've basically deferred it to a little bit later in the development process. And this we hope will give us time to establish a baseline of nodes on the network and stock within the marketplace and liquidity of items without overwhelming it with just darknet items. So when you hear, if you hear anybody say that we don't care about that, it's patently false. We definitely do. It just becomes a matter of how you do that gracefully without scaring off any other ClearNet type users. There's also some technical issues around it. You know, one of the reasons why we've also deferred it technically is because we're using a UDP network. If you're not familiar with that, it's not compatible with Tor, which is kind of the primary way to do that. And but you know, we're looking at I2P integration as well. Some of the I2P developers are starting to collaborate with us on that, and hopefully we'll be able to roll that out sometime in the near future as well. So keep your eyes out for that. I am pretty much done with what I wanted to say, so I guess the next move would be to start answering some of these questions. So do you want me to just go ahead and do that, Dan? Just start answering the questions? Okay, cool. Let's see, the first question I have here is, what made you want to work on OB? So in April of 2014, when Amir Taki helped drive the idea for this proof of concept called Dark Market in Toronto at their hackathon, I was just sitting at home, just like everybody else, and watched the video of the product and was blown away with the idea that we actually already have the technology and the software available to build this decentralized Bitcoin marketplace peer-to-peer. And so I reached out to Amir and I emailed him. I said, you know, let me work on this. I really, really want to work on this. This is like the project that's like most fascinating to me. And they just didn't want to, they weren't working on it because they had Dark Wallet and that was taking up all of their time. So rather than basically walk away from it and punt on it, I decided to basically fork it and turn it into OpenBazaar, because I wanted to make sure that we could bring in all kinds of different developers those that wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, this is an Amir Taki project and it's all about guns and drugs and I want to do that. I mean, that has its own niche, but I kind of thought that this would be expandable to a much broader audience. And so I just thought a clean break from that would be great, especially since their developers would not be working on it any longer. So basically the idea of just freeing people from the Etsy's, the eBays of the world, I feel like it just has such a great value globally, because there's just so many challenges with dealing with it. I mean, you're talking about billions and billions of dollars worth of e-commerce being conducted through these networks that are basically just taking so many fees from people, even if they're just small businesses. And then the arbitration aspect of it is just horrible as well. You know, it's like if you have a problem with something that you bought on eBay, you end up arguing with eBay, and then generally as a merchant you kind of get screwed over. Like it almost always goes to the buyer, and they just don't have the capacity to be able to deal with that. And so, you know, the idea of taking something like OpenBazaar and distributing that moderation process, anybody can be an arbiter, is something that we've never seen done before. And so it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. So in a nutshell, I just think the idea is amazingly fascinating, and I've been inspired by all the people that have come to help support it to keep going. Why libBitcoin? So libBitcoin is a little bit of an homage to the original dark market idea, as well as the fact that it solves one of our biggest challenges. The original proof of concept was built on top of libBitcoin, because that's also Amir Taki's creation. But the idea is that in order to do the transactions and things like what we've done within Bitcoin, is we need to have some kind of full node solution. So what libBitcoin is it's a federated full node system. So anybody can run a libBitcoin server, and in fact you can start up your own libBitcoin server full node and connect your OpenBazaar to it, and you're not even relying on anybody but yourself. But at the same time, it allows other users to connect to any libBitcoin server and use that full node for doing the transactions, which is what by default happens in OpenBazaar. We connect to the one that we run. And at some point in the near future, we're going to have it so that it can bounce between a bunch of them to basically lower the level of risk with connecting to those nodes. So essentially, it's a full node that we can use that doesn't require users to run it on their local machine. So will I do Tor integration? I kind of mentioned that, so I'll just move past that one. Let's see. Can moderators get in trouble if they are unknowingly involved in moderating illegal transactions? Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm also not a law enforcement officer, so I wouldn't want to give you advice that would get you in trouble. Obviously, this topic is kind of a new area, and we're not really sure. The answer is we're not sure, but I would assume any kind of connection to that kind of activity probably would put you at some level of risk. And we are also working in ways to basically be able to absolve yourself from those types of transactions. My best suggestion at this time would be that to make sure, if you're a moderator, that your policies and rules for conducting business on your storefront are as clear as possible about what you will and what you won't do. I think being brought into a transaction unknowingly is not necessarily grounds for any kind of illegal activity. The best you can do at this time is to essentially ignore those transactions. And if it's something completely egregious, I guess it would be up to you to determine whether or not you'd want to report that actually to law enforcement. But the answer to me, I think, is yeah, it probably would put you at some level of risk, but I just don't know how much that would be. what are your long-term visions for the growth of decentralized reputation systems? Decentralized reputation is one of those things that a lot of people think is almost impossible to do. By nature, reputation is more of like a local type thing, right? Like I can't remember what it is, but there's some statistic that says that like any human being can only really process up to 200 people, like understand and relate to 200 humans, which to me says a just completely decentralized global reputation system is going to be hard to build when there's billions and billions of people to deal with. Right now, I don't think that there's any clear answer for like what that final end state looks like. You guys froze a little bit. Hopefully you can still see me. Are we good? Okay. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? If I get a thumbs up, then I'll keep going, but I don't know if. Okay, cool. You're just a little bit stuttery, so I can't tell. Yeah, so I think decentralized reputation is just a very challenging thing. One of our contributors, Dionysius Zindros, wrote his master's thesis on a potential reputation system for OpenBazaar, and worked on it for almost a year. So that'll tell you how difficult the problem is. But yeah, the long-term vision is we'd like to make it better, and I think that we're going to be exploring all kinds of different ways to make that happen. I mean, some of the interesting things that are coming out around ZKCP that was just recently announced is something that we're tossing around in the Slack as tying some stuff to that. There's all kinds of different ways to skin a cat, and so we're going to be trying out a lot of those, and you'll see more in the future. What would you like to see most to be built on top of OpenBazaar? I think what I would like to see most on top of OpenBazaar is, and it's not a specific area of type of product, but essentially I want to be able to see something that's super substantial, that it has some traction. Like let's say someone that starts some kind of car sales marketplace that grows to like this like huge amount of users and is using OpenBazaar underneath as part of the platform. Something that demonstrates that it's not just our reference client, that like that's not all that OpenBazaar is. It's like people expanding into new areas, but using the underlying platform. That's what I look forward to most. And what that looks like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, that's a question that we ask ourselves within OB1 all the time, because obviously at some point in time we'll explore things other than just the core software. So that's what I would like to see. How was I able to? Is it good? Back to normal? Let me see. Hold on. Uh-oh. Can you guys hear me? See me? Any of the above?